Alright, let's fix some films. Let's start off with Batman vs. Superman. Batman vs. Superman can best be described as a beautiful mess. But I feel there's one thing that would fix a lot of its problems. But for the sake of argument, let's just say you had to keep David S. Goyer, Zack Snyder, or Jesse Eisenberg. We didn't have to look at the very end of Man of Steel in order to find a solution. And no, I'm not talking about what people seem to be misremembering him cheerfully or willfully snapping Zod's neck. You know, the man who was literally born and bred to kill and destroy, who had decades of fighting experience against someone who has zero experience, who was also more powerful as the fight went on. No. And Clark, who's never been in a fight in his life and has only been Superman for about 2 days. I'm talking about the scene right after that. I'm talking about the scene when he finally meets up with the General. That Superman was confident, experienced, happy. He was the actual ideal of hope that his new theme said he was. If that Superman was in Batman vs. Superman, it would have changed the tone and dynamic of the film. People would have been more conflicted on which side to choose, Superman or Batman. The mistakes he made in the film, with the government hearing, the hostage, and so on, will have been resolved in a more realistic or logical way. The Superman as a messiah or god figure also wouldn't come into play as much, and it wouldn't halt the film at a time when it should be building up to something. The main problem I had with Batman vs. Superman is that it was a Batman film with special guest star Superman. Clark Kent Superman was severely underwritten, and his dour appearances just helped drag the film down. By regressing Superman at the start of the film, the filmmakers retconned Clark and Superman's personal development from Man of Steel. Man of Steel was a coming-of-age film, and at the end, he was the Superman that everyone says they want, and yet they still mock at the same time. I don't understand that. With what happened to Clark and Batman vs. Superman, realistically, he'll have to go through at least 2 films for him to reach the point where he was at the end of Man of Steel. And by that point, the character's going to feel tedious. Now, let's talk about how to fix the 2015 Fantastic Four. While it would be nice if Marvel Studios had the Fantastic Four film rights back, that's not needed in order to make a good Fantastic Four film. For a good Fantastic Four film, you need to focus on 2 aspects. That's where the 2015 film failed in. Then again, its chief purpose was just to hang on to the rights, so, mission accomplished? Anyway, here are 2 things that you need in order to nail the Fantastic Four. 1. Exploration. Yeah, they're listed as heroes, but the Fantastic Four don't go out on nightly patrols. They're good people, and they will help those that they can, but they save the world and the universe on a scale that the average person on Earth isn't even aware of. They're explorers, adventurers, and scientists. They have adventures at the bottom of the sea, the center of the Earth, across dimensions, and on the other side of the universe. Heck, they even went to heaven and found out that God was Jack the King Kirby. The Fox films haven't had any real exploration. The 2015 film had the negative zone, but 1, only 3 of the 4 went, and 2, it was the most uninteresting looking place imaginable. Also, if you're gonna go to the negative zone, why not show its inhabitants, or gee, I don't know, like Annihilus? You know, its king, one of the scariest and most dangerous villains in the Marvel Universe. Anyway, when they go exploring, the new locations should be limited only by the imagination of the filmmakers. Then again, maybe the 2015 film was the limit of Josh Trank's imagination. Finally, family. They're close, sometimes too close. They argue and joke with each other, but when it comes down to it, they'll always have each other's back. It took until the final 15 minutes of the film in order for all 4 of the main characters to be together at the same time. Basically, they were just a bunch of strangers to each other. And the comics, cartoon, or hell, the 2000s Tim Story films, there is a sense of camaraderie. This doesn't mean that they will always get along, or heck, even most times, but there will be an intimacy between them. The first 2 Fox films have issues, but at least you could say that the characters seem to know each other and like each other, unlike the 2015 film where they just seem like strangers. If Fox, Marvel, or whoever are able to hit a home run with these 2 aspects, then they'll have the makings of a good or great film. Then you can move on to stuff like the special effects and who the villain will be. Hopefully it'll be someone other than Doom and a stupid cloud. I mean, seriously, what was that? Well, that's it for right now. Comment below what you think, and if you have any other ideas on what can make the Fantastic Four or Batman vs. Superman better than they were.